Okay, fam, welcome back. So today we're going to be going over the grayscale trusts and the Bitcoin miners a little bit. So with that being said, let's get it. All right, so excuse me. First thing I want to show you guys here is the price of Bitcoin. And again, we'll talk about all this stuff in separate videos. I don't want to go too deep into this, but we did post this on X2. You guys can see Bitcoin has recently been hitting new all-time highs. I told you this was likely going to happen between kind of the end of or the back half of December into January. That's most likely going to happen. That's when Ethereum in January should theoretically take over. Then we get a massive altcoin explosion in Q1 of next year when Bitcoin's kind of chilling around wherever its top is going to be. The target as of right now is 138,000. This kind of changes. It depends on when Bitcoin breaks out. If it breaks out this week, then it would be 135,000. But if it breaks out next week, then maybe 138,000. It kind of depends on when it breaks this flag. So while Bitcoin's going up, MSTR and the miners are probably going to go up as well. Keep in mind, the miners could probably still go up even if Bitcoin's just sitting at all-time highs. That could also happen too. Whereas Coinbase, it will go up, but it's not going to go up to the fullest extent that it could, in my opinion, until alt season actually happens. Okay, that's when we're going to see the explosion on Coinbase because retail is going to FOMO in. Everybody and their brother that's talking about crypto is going to FOMO in, word of mouth, all that stuff. And then Coinbase should theoretically start skyrocketing pretty fast after that, I would think. Okay, so the miners. We're going to cover the miners real quick. So miners are looking good. They're starting to move up finally. I'm sure you guys already know CLSK, right, and Mara are pretty much on board with the MicroStrategy strategy, pun intended. But yeah, I mean, based on this, I would say likely the shorts are probably going to get liquidated. They're probably going to stop shorting, would be my guess, because they already know what's coming next, right? We all saw what happened with MicroStrategy. The thing just took off like a rocket to the upside several times, actually, not just once. So we're probably going to see something very similar with the miners based on that news. And CLSK buying back shares is also very bullish. That means there's less shares on the market to be traded. There's no dilution, which is good. Obviously, we all want that because that means the stock price go up, right? Yeah, and so if there's less shares on the market to be traded, there's less shares that these bears can come out here and try to short, right? So anyways, Riot's getting a breakout. It's looking good. We'll see how the rest of the week goes. Of course, we have FOMC coming up this week. We still are within this kind of bull flag pattern on CLSK. Again, got to get this in line here. So the breakout target is basically from kind of that candle low down there, right down here, all the way up to the top of this flag here, and then we would just extend this out. And again, I know this is not about the miners, but I do want to point this out. Okay, if we get a breakout this week, or maybe next week, it goes up to $22. Do I think it's going to stop at 22? Probably not, because once it gets above this, I'd say once we get a candle close above this particular candle right here at 21.30, I would say this thing's probably going to launch. It wouldn't shock me at all. Maybe we get temporarily stopped at 23.50, but once we get that past that point, I mean, it's game over. This thing's going to fly all the way up to 40 something, 30 to 40 something dollars per share. I would not be shocked at all. Okay, so good day for the miners, good day for Bitcoin and some of the grayscale trusts, not all of them. Again, a lot of these are tied to altcoin season. So I suspect the biggest bulk of the moves we're going to see on these to the upside probably going to be in Q1 of next year and Q2. Maybe even for the entirety of 2025, that could happen too. Okay, so LTCN here, we do have the golden cross confirmed after this green candle. Again, I've told you guys before, usually when we swing trade, when you get the golden cross, usually you do get a retest of the EMAs. That does always, well, not always, but a lot of times it will happen. Sometimes it's immediate, sometimes it is not. It just depends. You can see we got the golden cross back here in 23, and we kind of just pretty much took off to the upside. And later in January, we came back, had a retest, and then took off even further. It appears that we're getting the retest now, and maybe we'll just get the launch a little bit faster in this case. Again, That makes sense. I mean, if alt season is going to start happening next month, it needs to kind of happen pretty quick, right? Okay, so the pullback buy zone pretty much is, I'd say, pretty much around the current price. I mean, maybe you get that 1750. Whether that actually happens or not remains to be seen. So 25 to 27, then 54 for the all-time highs. Still remains the same until we get up to these levels here, up to about 205% gain here. Once it gets past 54, it's probably going to launch all the way up to 75 and then 100 to 135 after that. As you guys know, the all-time high as of right now for LTCN is 510. That's $510. So once we get past that, I mean, look, I'll show you guys. I'm actually going to show you guys right now what happens when a stock hits price discovery. So Tesla is a good example. So again, I know we don't usually talk about traditional stocks on this channel in confluence with the Grayscale Trust, but so yeah, we got this bull pennant thing here, and I told you guys pretty much the breakout target was going to be like 475 or something like that. So you can see once we got past this candle here at the all-time highs, this thing just absolutely took off like a rocket. It's still going to. Even in after hours, it's still going. And you guys can see this is from 100 and, well, basically at the low back here, 103 in kind of the bear market lows back in 2022, and then again at 140. April of this year, this thing literally has done more than a 3x. Okay, I know this is not a perfect symbolic representation of LTCN, but this should give you an example of what it means to go from the lows to the highs. And what happens when we do hit price discovery is basically just straight up from that point. And then the markets after that, they kind of have to figure out exactly like kind of what their targets are, pullback, all that kind of stuff. Usually Fibonacci retracements come in pretty handy during those levels. That's part of the reason we talk about it. Okay, so BCHG got to get above this inverse head and shoulders here. Again, the target for that is 1384. I don't think it stops there. I think it's going to go much higher because, again, that is also a structure level. Once it gets past that, it should be, I'd say, probably up in the zone up in here, maybe 18 to 20 after that. Okay, so anyways, buy zone here. As of right now, pretty much the current price. So I'd say about 7.25 to about 770, somewhere in there. I'd be setting my sights up here at 18 to 24. You guys are free to do what you want to, of course. So 240% gain, levels above head 1050 to 1220. HZEN, so we may possibly be creating some kind of bull flag here. Again, it's not going to be perfect, but you guys can kind of see what's going on here. Yeah, I mean, it's not the prettiest thing, but, and it's also not the largest bull flag I've ever seen, but, you know, if we do get that breakout, it's going to push us basically back to where we were back here. So about 950 a share. So for a pullback area, I'm still looking at 5 as the potential buy zone. Again, that is structure right there. So you got your levels here at 690 to about 805. Then you got your target there at 950. And then above head, 1150 to about 1230 on this one. So maximum move here, roughly about 150% gain. ETCG kind of just chilling at the moment. It's taking a breather after this big move up. Am I shocked? Not really. I mean, usually when there is a huge move up in a stock or a crypto, it can do one of two things. It can either have a pullback, a small or a large one, which is larger, obviously would be a flash crash, which is pretty fast, right? Or a slow bleed down with a pullback, which takes a little bit longer, or just a kind of pullback in time where it kind of mostly just goes sideways, waits for the indicators to catch up, or maybe sideways and down, sideways and up. Waits for the indicators to catch up, and then eventually breaks out. So yeah, Bitcoin is a pullback in time right now, but kind of to the upside as a good example. Okay, so buy zone here, 1340. Profit targets 1860 to about 20. And again, that white line down there is a structure level that we broke, so that's why I'm looking at that 54% gain here. ETH. So this one does actually look a little bit more bullish. And again, I think Ethereum's still kind of trying to break that 4,000 level. It hasn't quite gotten there yet, but it's showing some signs of strength. We'll talk about that in a separate video. So buy zone's still going to be down here between 24 and a quarter to about 28 and a quarter. Target is the cup and handle up here at 53. So about 120% gain. And again, we got to get above this structure level here at 37 too. So it's not surprising it hasn't broke out yet. Again, Ethereum's time to shine is usually in Q1 of the post-halving year. We're not there yet. So, okay, so GBAT. Yeah, I don't really like that red candle with a wick there. That's kind of ugly, but I mean, there was actually a wick on both sides. That's an indecision candle. It basically means the market's not sure what they want to do. I will tell you guys right now, I think in Q1, this thing's going to go up. A lot of these down here actually probably will go up too, because again, it lines up with all season, but the indicators as of right now are kind of pointing up and telling me that likely there is going to be a move up soon, even if it doesn't look like it. Okay, so buy zones here is 730 to, I'd say, about 790. Again, that's the EMAs to the bottom of that zone there. Target is going to be the all-time high, so 32. And again, these things may not be moving right now, but I mean, guys, they can literally, like that, on a dime, just up and just flash to the upside, okay? It can literally happen, blink of an eye, I kid you not. Okay, maybe not that fast, but you guys know what I mean. Like a couple of weeks, like it could sit around for months, and then just in a couple of weeks, just do a stupid, like 8, 9, 10x would not shock me, or at least a 3, 4x, so 330% gain here. I'll actually show you guys a couple of stocks that I've been looking at. Once we're done with this, I'll show you guys an example of what a true parabolic breakout looks like. Okay, so FILG, buy zone here, 59 to about 65. It's a pretty good price right now. I mean, if this thing had broke out and kept going, I would say you missed out, but looks like there may be a second opportunity here. All-time highs at 400. 530% gain. A lot of the times when the EMAs get a breakout to the upside, the price will just keep going. It won't pull back initially. My experience has been that probably 8 or 9 out of 10 times when you get an EMA golden cross, the price will just rocket straight up. It will not have a retest immediately. But on rare occasions, you will get a retest. So in this case, I would say these are golden buying opportunities. Again, not financial advice. You guys can do what you want to. Okay, so GLIV 16 to about 1870 for the buy area here. 80, the all-time highs is the target. So about 400% gain. G-Link still looking good, having a slight little pullback here. Is that really shocking right before this candle top? This green one right here, not really, but once it gets past this green candle top here, if you guys are already holding, I would say price discovery is going to come pretty quick because, again, this is the highest candle close that we have on record for this one. Pullback area, personally, I'd probably be looking maybe around, maybe as high as 142, maybe as low as kind of 84 here. And then the all-time highs are, as of right now, are at 220. Okay, so 150% gain on this one, GSOL. Okay, so it does maybe look like it wants to have a breakdown. Again, this could be a fake out. It could just go straight back up. We'll have to see later on in the week. We have FOMC this week. Keep that in mind. Papa Powell might come out and say something dovish, and then the markets do like a 5% gain in one day. I wouldn't be shocked. Okay, so buy zone here, 22.75 all the way up to about 51. Targets anywhere from 71.50 to, I'd say, probably about 110 on this one. I don't know. I mean, you got to decide for yourself whether it's Solana or anything Solana related after the big runs it's already had. Is it worth buying at this point? So 375% gain. GXLM, so we got a little pullback here. It looks like if you miss the dip buying opportunity down here, you might get another one up here. So I'm still going to say 36 to about 40 could be a potential good buy area on this one. I'd be looking above this area at this point, because it's already moved so much. So 73 to about the all-time highs at 96. So 160% gain on this one. Mana. So still trying to break out, not getting there yet, but the fact that we're getting wicks above this line here tells me likely this thing is going to break out soon. So buy zone here about 15 to 20, somewhere in there. The all-time high would be the target, so $70 on this one. Nice little 3.5x, not bad. 357% gain. Zcash trying to pull back into that structure. Again, I'm not shocked. $6 on this one, and then the targets would be kind of this 970 to about 10.5, 10.25, somewhere in there. So about a 70% gain. Okay, so I'm sure you guys know that Google came out with their Willow quantum computing chip. Just so you guys know, quantum computing is like a bazillion times, supposed to be like a bazillion times faster than a GPU or CPU, apparently. But yeah, there is a couple of other stocks that we now have on our watch list that we are watching for a substantial pullback to get in as potentially maybe a longer term hold. And that's these two right here. So QBTS, D-Wave Quantum, and Qbit, or QUBT in this case. These are both quantum chip companies. So yeah, if you guys are wondering what a parabolic breakout looks like, this is it, dude. If the Grayscale trusts do something like this and you're not positioned into them by that time, I would say it's too late. I mean, you may just have to look at something else, because this is usually what happens when you get a move on crypto that goes absolutely stupid, except this is a stock. It's not a cryptocurrency. Okay, this thing went from like $1 to $7, almost $8 in a matter of weeks. I mean, you got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2 months here, about an 8x return. This one's even worse, or better. I guess you'd call it better, right? You bought down here at the lows, it's 70 cents. This thing is now as high as like $11. So you're talking at least an 11, maybe a 12, 13x, literally in 2 months. Okay. This is what crypto looks like when it's game over and the bulls are in charge. Okay. And we get the parabolic phase, everything and his brother goes to the moon. This is what it's going to look like. Okay. And I'm showing you guys this in the stock market just so you know that, like, oh, well, the Grayscale trusts aren't going to go anywhere. Well, may not be the right time yet. So, but when it is, you guys, when this does eventually happen on these things, you guys will be looking back and be like, crap, man, I wish I had bought more. That's part of the reason why we have not sold our AMC yet, because again, AMC is probably going to do the same thing sometime next year. I wouldn't be surprised. Again, I know this video is not about AMC. You guys can look into all the details of AMC and GME later, but I mean, we literally saw the same thing last crypto bull run. Okay, GME took off first, and then AMC went shortly after that, and it just got absolutely stupid, and the returns were ridiculous. So yes, are we down a little bit on AMC? Yeah, sure, but do we plan on buying more later? If the price is still relatively cheap, yes. So you can see January, GameStop took off, topped out right about the same time as, well, not quite the same time as Bitcoin, but pretty close. And then what happened afterwards, shortly after that, AMC started to take off, and then it really took off as altcoins took off kind of into Q2 of the post-halving year. So, but yeah, this, most people that don't buy down here, they kind of regret it when the price gets up here. So, but whether you guys think it's worth the risk or not, that's up to you. So anyways, hope you all enjoyed this content. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all later. Peace.